The forest had been whispering all day. A low hum of wind through the pines, the soft lap of water against the lakeshore. Everything moved with the rhythm of something ancient and patient. By the time dusk settled over the clearing, 3 friends, Leah, Chris, and Ethan, were the only pulse of life left within miles. They had driven for hours to escape the city, trading skyscrapers for shadows. The old dirt road had spat dust into the air behind them, swallowing their tire tracks as quickly as they appeared. Chris, the planner, had found the spot weeks earlier, a forgotten patch of forest beside a nameless lake. No service, no noise, no people, he'd promised with a grin. He wasn't wrong. As the last colors bled from the sky, they set up their tents near the fire pit and lit a small blaze that clawed at the darkness. Sparks drifted upward, vanishing into the trees like fireflies. Leah's laughter filled the night, echoing between the trunks. She always tried to keep things light, even when the woods pressed too close. "If anything happens," she said, pointing at Chris, "you're the first to get eaten." Ethan chuckled, but something about the way the forest swallowed their laughter unsettled him. The sound didn't bounce back. It just disappeared. By the time the fire burned low, the air had grown cold. They crawled into their sleeping bags inside the tent. Leah in the middle, Ethan to her left, Chris to the right. The soft hiss of the lake and the whisper of leaves became a lullaby that nearly drowned out the world. Nearly. Ethan woke first. He couldn't say why. Maybe the silence, maybe the instinct that crawls up the spine when something is wrong. The fire was dead, the moon smothered by clouds. He lay still, eyes open, listening. Crunch. A single footstep outside. Not an animal. Too heavy, too slow. He held his breath. Another crunch followed. Then another. Ethan's hand drifted toward his flashlight, his pulse loud enough to drown the sound of Leah's soft breathing beside him. The noise stopped. The forest froze. He counted to 10. Nothing moved. Then, faintly, a whisper, or maybe just the breeze, brushed the tent wall. When he finally drifted back into uneasy sleep, it was with his hand still gripping the flashlight handle. Hours later, he woke again to the same suffocating stillness. The air felt heavier, colder. His phone screen wouldn't light up. Dead battery. He rolled onto his side. That was when he noticed it. The sleeping bag beside him, Chris's, was flat. The zipper was open halfway, edges limp against the tent floor. Chris's shoes still sat neatly by the entrance. Ethan frowned. "Chris?" he whispered. Leah stirred, rubbing her eyes. "What's wrong?" "Chris is gone." The words felt wrong leaving his mouth. Leah blinked, disoriented. "Gone where?" "I don't know. His bag's empty." They both sat up. The air in the tent had a strange, metallic tang. Leah reached for the zipper, hesitated, and froze. Outside, something dragged against the ground. Not walking, dragging, fabric on dirt. Leah whispered, "He's probably just." The sound came again, closer this time. Both of them held their breath. Finally, Ethan pulled the zipper down just enough to look outside. The flashlight beam flickered weakly as it swept the camp. No Chris. Only footprints, bare feet, leading away from the tent, deeper into the forest. Leah's voice cracked. Why would he go out without shoes? Ethan didn't answer. He stepped out slowly, the flashlight trembling in his hand. The mist clung to his ankles, curling like smoke. The trail was clear for a few meters before it vanished into darkness. The forest seemed to breathe, a slow inhale through the trees. "Let's wait till morning," Ethan said, voice low. They went back into the tent and zipped it shut. Neither spoke. Every sound, every creak of nylon, every rustle of their clothes, sounded too loud. Hours passed before the first gray light seeped through the fabric. When Ethan finally dared to open the tent, the forest looked washed out, as though color itself had been drained overnight. The lake shimmered like liquid glass. No sign of Chris. They searched the area in silence. Not even birds called out. When Leah circled back to the campfire pit, her voice wavered. "Ethan, look!" Chris's flashlight lay on the ground, still glowing weakly. But it wasn't pointing toward the forest. It was pointing at their tent. Ethan felt something tighten in his chest. "He came back," Leah whispered. "He must have dropped it." Ethan shook his head. "No, it's dry." Meaning, it hadn't been there long. Before Leah could respond, a noise rippled through the clearing. A faint rustle from inside the tent. They both turned. Leah's sleeping bag was shifting. Just a twitch at first, then another. As if something inside was struggling to move. Ethan took a step forward. "Leah, stay back." The bag jerked again, harder this time. Leah gasped. "He's back. It's him." "Don't," Ethan said sharply, holding up a hand. He knelt beside it, every muscle coiled tight. He reached for the zipper. Slowly, carefully, he pulled it down. The bag deflated instantly. Empty. Completely empty. Leah stepped back, shaking her head. "Ethan, what's happening?" He didn't answer. The flashlight flickered, then clicked off. The clearing fell into silence. And from somewhere beyond the treeline, something called Ethan's name. Not a scream, not a whisper, just a slow, wet imitation of a voice that used to be human. "Ethan." Leah's hand found his arm. That wasn't Chris. Ethan looked toward the forest, the mist swallowing everything beyond a few feet. The voice came again, closer this time. And when the sound reached the edge of the clearing, Leah realized the most horrifying thing of all. It wasn't one voice. It was two, both whispering Ethan's name. The fog thickened as the morning dragged on. It rolled across the forest floor in pale ribbons, swallowing sound, smothering sight. Ethan and Leah stood motionless by the ashes of their fire, the dead flashlight still pointing accusingly at their tent. Neither of them spoke for a long time. The silence had weight now, something alive, watching, waiting. Finally, Leah broke it. "We need to go," she whispered. Ethan nodded. His hands trembled as he stuffed their gear into his backpack. Every snap of a zipper sounded like thunder. He didn't even look at Chris's empty sleeping bag. He couldn't. When they stepped onto the trail, the forest greeted them with a single crow's cry, shrill and distant, as if warning them away. The trees leaned closer the farther they walked. "Just keep the lake on our left," Ethan said. His voice was tight, barely human. But the lake didn't stay on their left. The shoreline twisted, and soon, somehow, they were walking uphill, though the map said there were no hills near the campsite. Leah stopped. "Ethan, I think we're going in circles." He turned to reply, but his words died in his throat. There, half hidden behind a curtain of fog, stood their tent, exactly where they'd started. The same torn branch near the fire pit, the same footprints in the mud. Even the flashlight, now faintly glowing again, still pointed straight at the fabric door. Leah's knees buckled. "That's impossible." Ethan dropped his pack. No, we were walking straight." A sound came from inside the tent. Soft, rhythmic, breathing. They froze. It wasn't the wind. It wasn't an echo. It was too close, too wet, too human. Leah whispered, "Don't open it." But Ethan was already moving. He crouched near the entrance, one hand hovering over the zipper. "Chris." Silence. He pulled the zipper halfway. The smell hit first, sweet rot, mixed with the damp stench of earth. Then something moved. A shape, pale, curved wrong. Ethan staggered back. The shape inside shifted, its spine cracking audibly as it twisted toward him. Two hands, long, thin, colorless, reached for the flap. "Run!" he yelled. They bolted into the fog, tripping over roots, crashing through branches. The forest swallowed their screams. Behind them, something crawled out of the tent. It was fast, too fast. Every time Ethan glanced back, he caught only glimpses. The glint of white eyes, the glimmer of wet skin, the sound of something dragging its limbs across the ground like a spider learning to walk upright. Leah fell once. Ethan pulled her up and they kept running until they burst into a clearing. A shallow basin surrounded by black trees. And there, in the mud, was another sleeping bag. Ethan stopped dead. "That's..." Leah shook her head violently. "No, it can't be." But it was. It was Chris's bag. The same blue nylon, the same tear near the zipper. Only now it looked full. Something inside was breathing. Ethan whispered, "Chris." The bag stilled. Then, slowly, it unzipped itself from the inside. A hand emerged, gray, slick, trembling. Another followed, and then Chris crawled out. His eyes were glassy, unblinking. Mud clung to his hair. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Only a soft hiss, like air escaping from lungs that hadn't breathed in hours. Leah took a step forward. "Chris?" He turned his head sharply toward her. The bones in his neck cracked like ice. When he finally spoke, his voice was wrong. A mimicry, echoing from somewhere deep inside the forest itself. "Leah, Ethan, you left me." Leah screamed. Ethan grabbed her arm and yanked her backward. Chris, or whatever wore his face, twitched, then lunged, crawling faster than any human should. They ran again, through fog that thickened with every step. But the forest didn't end. Every path circled back to the same clearing, the same tent, the same flashlight, the same 3 sleeping bags. Only now all 3 were full. Ethan stared at them in horror. One moved, then another. Leah clutched his hand. "We're not getting out, are we?" Ethan didn't answer. He took one step back, and the flashlight beam suddenly flared to life, blindingly bright. It illuminated the trees around them, and dozens of faces staring back. Some were pale and eyeless. Others were just outlines, shadows with mouths that opened too wide. Each face whispered the same thing, over and over, in that broken, borrowed voice. "Stay!" The forest erupted in sound. Whispers, crunches, breaths that didn't belong to any living thing. The ground shifted beneath them, soft as skin. Leah fell first. Her scream was cut short as the earth swallowed her up to the shoulders. Ethan tried to pull her free, but her hand slipped away. He looked down, and saw another hand gripping his wrist from below. He screamed as he was yanked downward. The world turned black, then white, then still. When the sun rose the next morning, the clearing was empty. 3 sleeping bags lay side by side, all zipped closed, and from inside one of them came a soft, steady breathing. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with anyone who loves dark, atmospheric horror. Your engagement helps new listeners discover the channel, and maybe keeps the forest from noticing you next. Whispered, the sleeping bag beside yours might not stay empty for long.